Creamer Media is talking to political analyst Aubrey Matshiqi about the prospect of nationalizing South Africa's mines and the ironies surrounding that. In South Africa, we have this great irony of the communists saying no to nationalization and the capitalists saying yes. Give us an analysis of that.
Firstly, I think some of the protagonists are turning their personal clashes and personal differences into national issues. We must differentiate political issues from ideological issues. So when the SACP says it is opposed to the call by the ANC Youth League to nationalize mines, their opposition is not based on ideology. It is based on political considerations. It is their view that the ANC Youth League is positing a proxy argument on behalf of certain business interests. In other words, they are a Trojan horse for certain business interests.
And where are we going to end up in South Africa?
Well, firstly, we should not take everything that is being said about nationalization seriously. Because when politicians make statements, those statements tend to have two dimensions, the noble and the ignoble. And sometimes when politicians make statements, they seek to achieve a multiplicity of aims, some genuine, some opportunistic. And that is how we should read the content of this debate. Secondly, there is no single policy measure or intervention that can be a panacea for the problems and challenges facing the country. And that is why it has been my argument that even if the ANC does not pass a resolution calling for nationalization of mines, something I don't think will happen personally, that's the least of my worries. Whether we should nationalize mines or not is the least of my worries. We have a situation in this country where about 60% of the population is under the age of 30. Ordinarily, we should be happy about that because it means South Africa has a bright future. We have this human resource potential we can deploy socially, economically, and in other ways to take the country forward. But this opportunity is being squandered by the fact that many of these young people are not in a job, are not in training, and are not receiving an education. In fact, depending on which research study you prefer, people put the figure at about 4 million. But we have another problem. We have this young population, but this young population is dying young. Depending also on which research study you want to believe, our life expectancy is either at 48% or at 52%, or if you take what the health minister has been saying, if the current developmental trajectory doesn't change, our life expectancy is going to fall to 1965 levels. So it seems to me that a society that is faced with the challenge of being young and dying young at the same time must address two critical challenges: education and health. And access to education and health must be the key challenge we address as a country. Now, it is not obvious to me that nationalization of mines, or anything for that matter, is an effective response to these challenges.
South Africa is known to go to the precipice and then they do things. Perhaps we can rally around this whole unemployment issue.
Well, we tend to talk past each other, particularly when it comes to the conversation, if you can call it a conversation, between the state, big business, and big labor. Those social partners tend to talk past each other. Secondly, we tend to take extreme positions and forget that the majority of South Africans believe that the solution to many of our problems lies in the middle. We need a conversation in this country that will transcend these problems. But it also seems to me that you cannot posit 100% privatization as an answer, nor can you posit 100% nationalization as an answer. We need a conversation away from the two extremes. And of course, between the two extremes lies a plethora of models. And the conversation you must have is what kind of model will be an effective response to the unique position South Africa finds itself in. We tend to swing between what I call hysterical pessimism and hysterical optimism. It is because we allow those who take extreme positions to drag us to those extremes. We allow them to polarize us as a society, when in fact most of us know instinctively and otherwise that the solution lies in the middle. So it is time for the middle to take over and abandon and reject the extreme.
That was South African political analyst Aubrey Matshiqi giving us the insight into the nationalisation debate.